Hey everybody, welcome to Backyard Blue. Just two brothers talking sports and whatever else comes our way. I am brother number one by birth order anyway. That's me, Blake Miller. Students call me Mr. Miller. Mom calls me Moose. I am the one with the beautiful Cubs hat on. Brother number two, brother from the same mother, Hunter Borland. Hunter, the hunt daddy, the head hunter. My daughter calls him Hump. He's got an ugly Cardinals hat on. But what's happening, man? How you doing?
As the great tag team, the Dudley Boys would say, "Waza."
What's up? Man,
Oh man,
I am
not a
not
whole
jumping off the
lot
top rope.
flying in, but uh, not a whole lot, man. Just enjoying the new year. Started keto diet the first of the year, so I'm 5 days in. Drinking a lot of water and peeing every 30 seconds. It feels like. Um, so got through the keto flu, and we're on our way. We're smooth sailing from here on out, hopefully.
I feel like if they called that the meat and cheese diet, it would be more accurate because that's like a lot of what you eat. I just remember eating like salami rolled up with mozzarella cheese inside of it all the time. So
Yeah,
much, so
I'm on
much.
the Slim Jim diet when I need a snack right now.
I know, right? It works though, man. Did you get to watch our Q and Avery video from the other day that we did with Avery
Yeah, as
on our
soon
channel?
as soon as you put it up, it was so awesome. I texted you and said, I guess I'm booking a Disney World trip here in the next couple of years. Might be a little expensive with all of us, but hey, let's do it.
Man, she thought that was the coolest thing. She asked me every like 5 minutes, "How many people have watched our video? How many people have watched our video? How many people have watched our video? I want to know how many people have liked it."
I
And
think
she was,
she's about to outdo our first video.
or I think she already has. Uh, but
Has she?
she's the cute one between us. That's for sure. She gets her great looks from
She
me,
did a
but
good job. It
the beard.
looks like she was made for it.
Yeah, she had a good time, and she really liked reading or she can't read, but she liked me reading all the responses, what everybody said to her. She was really excited. I think she thinks she's famous, so I'm not gonna kill that
That's
dream
fun.
for now. She's been having
That's fun.
a really good time. She's asking when
Makes me
she could
want to
do it
get
again.
Jackson and Easton.
Do
Makes
it,
me want to
do
get
it.
Jackson, Easton, and Grady. Maybe do a learn how to do some outdoor living or something like that, and have
Yeah,
them explain how you duck hunt or something.
I think you should, 100%.
Oh
Well,
man.
how'd your bets go this weekend?
NFL, I was again pretty much 50-50. It wasn't a great weekend. I got killed on the under on a few games, uh, so didn't really lose much this weekend on the NFL. But I got to give a shout out to Gumpy on Pat McAfee's show. He calls them footy picks, soccer picks every weekend. Actually, like every night for the next day or the morning of. But I did a little round robin with 6 games and ended up hitting one was a no bet and hit the other five and cashed out like $240. So
That's
shouts to
nice.
Gumpy for the heads up on those. I can't even pronounce the soccer team names, what city they're in or anything, but I was watching FS1 soccer on Sunday morning, rooting for teams I have never heard of before.
I feel like you could play like soccer team or band, and you could probably have a hard time trying to figure out which one. Like Mannheim Steamroller, soccer team or band.
Band.
You're right. Way to go! Ding 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 ding. We have a winner.
Never heard of them, but
That's
band.
okay. That's a good one. Yeah.
But what about you? I hear you got some. You had a pretty big parlay hit this weekend.
Yeah. I turned a $7 parlay into about 620. I hit 7 guys scoring a touchdown. And the last guy was Devonte Adams, and it was such an unnecessary touchdown at the end too. I was dead. I was like, this is not happening. I was like, all this just false hopes that I got here, it's not gonna happen. And then all of a sudden, like Green Bay should just kneel on the ball, run it a couple times, kick a field goal, just to But they're playing their rivals, so they want to run up the score. And I think Buddy Aaron Rodgers wants to get Mr. Adams another touchdown, get him to 18, and get himself to 48. And
Hey, and
sure
he's been in
enough,
what, like 14 games?
oh
Because I think
man,
he missed 2 games and another
bananas.
half. So I mean that his stats were crazy for that for missing 2.5 games.
I was really mad too. I don't know if I told you this, but I actually also had it on FanDuel with a higher bet, but their servers went down in the state of Tennessee right at kick, and it was the same 7 guys, but with 3 more in the first set of games. It was those 7 that I had plus J.K. Dobbins, Miles Gaskin and Nick Chubb, and they all scored, and it was like 10 to cash
Oh,
like $2,000. Like it was
oh,
bananas. I would have been really excited to hit that one too, but I put like 5 minutes of thought into it. I've been wanting to do one of those every week, and I finally did it, and it worked. That was kind of cool. Now I'll do it every
I may
week and
have to try
probably
one of those out.
lose
Wild
the
card
money
weekend.
back. Yeah, maybe so. It's fun. It was fun rooting for it. I hit like 4 in the first quarter, and it was on from there. I was glued to the TV and the iPad. I
That's
had all the
awesome.
games going in different spots. It was pretty cool. I found that I'm better at college basketball than anything else, except for tonight. I've had a 12-0 run in college basketball, and tonight I think I'm gonna go like 1-4.
That's a pretty good run,
Yeah.
especially because college basketball's been a little unpredictable, especially the past 3 or 4 days. We've had some upsets in the top 10, so
Yep.
um, that's a heck of a run.
I've been feeling good about like I feel like I know the Big Ten pretty well. A good feel for that. Some of the SEC, some of the ACC. But once you get deep into conference play, it's so tough. And a lot of the ones
Yeah,
that if I do miss, it's by a couple of points. So the ones tonight, I made them last. I felt so good about it. I made them last night. I just got to stop being a little too aggressive there.
you
And
won that parlay. You're ready to throw
I
some
know,
money out
I know.
there.
I'm like, let's make it rain. Last night, I felt like a reprieve. Like I felt invincible because I bet on West Virginia, and they were down 19. I had them minus 1.5, I think, and they were down 19 with 11 minutes to go, and I was ready to turn off the bet. I'm like, I'm ready to turn off the TV and go to bed. I'm like, let me just turn it on and see what's happening. And they cut it to like 9. I'm like, all right, I'll find something else to do. Go brush my teeth or
Now,
whatever. Came back in at 6. I'm like, not going to bed. Not going to bed.
you
Some of my buddies had bet on it
talk
too,
about some.
so I'm running around the house saying, "Take me home, country road, West Virginia."
Oh man,
That's
you're talking about that. I think it was Saturday or Sunday. Tulane. I think it was Tulane and South Florida maybe. But the over under was a live game bet was like 117 and a half. And with 30 seconds left, it's at 117. I'm like, well, let me turn it on real quick. And
yeah.
somehow I had the under, and somehow it stayed at 117 and hit. But I'm on ESPN Plus on my phone watching just a meaningless college basketball game. It was
I know.
this is ridiculous.
What does SVP say? Significant to some.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, tonight I'm watching Clemson, and Clemson and North Carolina State. The only game that I won tonight. North Carolina State plus four and a
Isn't
half.
football season over?
I know, right? North Carolina State plus 4.5. They were up all game. Go to overtime. They're down 4. They miss a shot with 1 second left. They foul. They send Clemson to the line. 74-70 Clemson. One free throw, and the game's over. And Anna's like, the game's over anyways. It doesn't count to her. You don't care. She doesn't know.
Yeah.
And the guy misses a free throw, and I'm like, ah! And then he misses over, and I
Yeah.
went, yes! And she's like, why are you cheering? The game's, I'm trying to explain, like, plus 4.5. So you lost? No, no,
I
no.
won.
It's okay. She puts up
It-
with it. I appreciate that more than anything. Man,
it's
the
part of the
NFL was,
lifestyle now.
oh my gosh. I think I've placed at least one bet, not every day, but most days since we got
It's
it
just so
open.
easy now with the app.
Oh, it's so fun. Take all my money. Just take it. Take it all.
Yeah.
It's so
Every
fun.
week.
Man, the NFL was crazy this weekend. And looking into wild card weekend, I wanted to ask you what you thought. I know a lot of people were talking about the Eagles situation with benching Jalen Hurts on Sunday Night Football, being down 17-14, close game. What's your take on it?
So the take for me as a fan, and April being a Giants fan, I kind of thought it was hilarious, but I did feel bad for her, and I did think it was ridiculous to so obviously tank and try to lose that game. I mean, the Giants won 6 games. It's not like, you know, they were a 10-6 team and they played well all season, and this cost them what could have been a really good season and a run in the playoffs. It's not that. It's Jalen Hurts was your guy. You benched your starter for Jalen Hurts, and you're supposed to be seeing what he's going to be. Sudfeld's not going to play for you next year. They're not looking to see what he's going to do. And I think it was so obvious that, hey, we can get a better draft position, which is fine. You're looking out for your own organization, but it's just kind of the integrity of the game's kind of lost, and you can't really compare it to a team like the Chiefs or the Steelers or somebody like that that's got a spot locked up, bye locked up, or their playoff seedings final that they can't change it. Um, and they need to get a little rest before the playoffs. It's not the same thing. It just was ugly. I think Collinsworth started pointing it out and kind of stopped in the middle of the game, but he was kind of talking about, hey, this is tanking, basically,
Yeah,
and they're throwing the game. It just wasn't a good look.
I've never heard announcers kind of talk openly about the integrity of the game, and they were joking about it a little bit, but even joke, there's truth and humor kind of thing. But I was
Yeah.
really, I was really surprised by it. Hertz had a bad game leading up to that point. He only had about 70 or so yards passing. He may have had more than that at the time,
I
but
think he was like 7 to 22 or something like that.
he wasn't good. But he wasn't Sudfeld either. And I wondered, like, was it a performance pulling? Because they were down there at the goal line, and he missed two wide open throws in a row, like should have
Mm-hmm.
been surefire touchdowns. He missed them, and I wondered if Peterson pulled him out for performance or if this came from up top. I think having a little more time to think about it, I think it's an up top decision that we wanted you to play this guy. Either one, we wanted you to play this guy, or two, we wanted you to tank. But
Yeah.
it's the closest the NFL has come to like open tanking to me. Like the NBA always seems a little more obvious. You never have teams that the team you assemble goes out there and tries to win. You tank by assembling a crappy roster.
A bad team. And in
The
the NBA,
Eagles
you
didn't do
can get
that.
one player that can change your franchise. And in the
Yep.
NFL, one player can't really determine so much on a football field.
Yep.
So tanking doesn't help as
Or Patrick
much.
Mahomes.
Yeah.
Or Aaron Rodgers. That works.
Yeah.
It's
But
it's
no, I get what
crazy.
you're saying.
It's I've never seen the open tanking in the NFL. Even when everybody was like the Jets are tanking. I'm like, well, but they did it by assembling a not very good roster. That team that goes out there and that coaching staff that goes out there every week is trying to win. They're not
They
intentionally
won two
throwing a
games.
game. Yeah, exactly. I think the roster was assembled to win zero,
Yeah.
but they won two because they're pros and they go out there and play their tails off every week. And I think the Eagles. It makes sense the Eagles players were upset, and it's crazy to me that this is happening. And the same franchise had some issues with Chip Kelly not too long ago, and I was just thinking about this, yesterday. Like they tend to let this kind of dramatic stuff build up with the coaches in that franchise. I'm kind of surprised, and
I,
it's also yeah. Go ahead.
no, you're fine. I love it because I hate the Eagles. I
Yeah,
mean,
me too.
they're my least favorite team in the NFL. They, but I just don't understand that fan base, that city. That is such. They're passionate as hell, but God, I mean, the dude won a Super Bowl, and the next year, opening night, they're booing going into halftime. And I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't want to coach in that environment. I mean, is that the reason they don't get great coaches? They ran Andy Reid out, who everybody knows was a really good coach and is proving that he is that awesome of a coach right now in Kansas City. Is it the city? Is it the organization? Is it they can't lure the big name to come in because you're on your way out if you make a couple bad decisions and have one bad year? I don't know. It's the ugly situation.
It really is. I just remember a few years ago hearing, LaShawn McCoy wanted out, and this guy wanted out, and they all wanted out under Chip Kelly, Deshaun Jackson, I believe. And now I heard Miles Sanders say it, how like nobody liked that. Like he said that today. Nobody liked that. Nobody. And
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't know. It's crazy that like you feel like you hope you would have learned something a few years ago. I mean, I think Peterson is still a good coach. I think they'll probably still bring him back next year. I guess he would have already been gone if he was gonna be gone. Uh,
Yeah.
but I didn't like it. I don't want to see that in the NFL. Like I like
No.
let the NBA do it. Even the NBA, they don't really do it. They assemble You tank by assembling the roster to lose, like in Major League. You know, you tank because you want to move them to Miami or whatever. You know,
You do, yeah, you
but
do whatever you got to do. You have a coach that probably isn't your coach moving forward, and a team that doesn't really stick well together. And just doesn't have that much talent, and you go out and lose on purpose.
Yeah, on the field, you coach and play to win though, and I think that's got to
Yep.
always be the message. Are you looking forward to anything wild card weekend?
Um, there's a couple games um, that I'm really intrigued by. The Ravens Titans, even though it's going to be kind of a old school throwback, run the ball type game. I enjoy those type games.
Yeah,
Uh, I think the Ravens, even though they've played crappy teams for the past 3 to 4 weeks, they're kind of peaking right now. They've won, I think, their last 4 or 5 games.
five.
So yeah, so they're looking good. I also like Brown Steelers, another game that's going to be kind of just line them up, run the
Punch
ball.
you in the
Oh
mouth.
god, and I w- I was really excited before I found out Stefanski had COVID and now he's not going to be calling plays. That sucks for the Browns. I mean,
Man,
they
what terrible
they've been
luck.
so good.
What
Their
terrible
first
luck
time in
that
18
is.
years making the playoffs, and then this happens. Um, but other than that, I mean, the Colts. I'm looking forward to that game. The Colts and Bills. I think the Bills win, but the Colts cause a lot of turnover, so who knows? There could be a couple upsets this weekend. I'm looking forward to. It kind of feels like a. I'm looking at every matchup, and besides the Bears and Saints, well, I'll let you talk about. I feel like all the other games are really competitive and could be really close, and anybody could win.
Yeah, I was thinking about the Bears and Saints. Even they played a close game earlier in the season. It was not a blowout by any means. That was a really competitive game.
Yeah,
I can't remember what the final score was exactly. Actually, it was 26-23. So I mean, and the Saints kind of eked that win out in overtime.
that
And
game was played in Chicago, right?
yeah, but with Foles as the quarterback though, and I think old Maserati Mitch is a little step up. I know he didn't play very well. I'm not a Trubisky guy. Please don't get that confused. Um, but he's definitely a step up
Adam.
in the offense for you know Nick Foles is a statue back there. He's a step up. Montgomery's been running the ball well.
Yeah,
Uh, Mooney stepped up as a pretty good receiver, alongside Robinson. I've been hoping for that number two option there. The tight ends are decent with Graham and Komet. I don't know. I think the Saints have a tendency to. I don't think they're good, but they don't play too as good as they. I don't know. I think the Bears are good enough to beat them. I don't know if they will. I will not take them on the money line. If you make me pick a game, I'll take the 10 points. But I just have a hard time believing the Saints are going to blow them out.
yeah. I agree. I think it's gonna be a really close game just because the Bears are gonna stay in it. It's like that year they had Rex Grossman went to the Super Bowl. Their defense is just so good that they're gonna keep you in games. But I do have one question for you. I was saying that every game is going to be, I think, could be really close. Do you think Washington can beat Tampa Bay? And I'm not going to bet against Tom Brady. There's no chance in hell I'm doing that. But that front seven is really good for Washington. And Mike Evans, I hadn't heard any update if he's out. Uh, I mean, they still got Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, Gronk's looking healthier and healthier as the year goes on. But that one would be a worrisome game if I'm Tampa Bay.
Of the bigger lines, and I consider the bigger lines being Indianapolis, Buffalo, the Saints and Bears, and then the uh, Washington football team. I almost stumbled there, like Collinsworth and Michaels, and the Bucks. I think those three, I feel most confident in Washington
Yep.
out of those three, heavier underdogs, because I think the whole idea to beat Brady, it always has been, if you get pressure on him, it's a different game.
Mm-hmm.
The Bucks line is not spectacular, and it's going up against the best pass rush in the league.
Yep.
Chase Young is a monster, but he's not the only monster in that closet. They're
They're
scary
loaded.
good. Yeah, and
Yeah.
and I
His
don't
name's
think.
Sweat. He's really good. I mean,
Yes,
they
Deron
got a lot of
Payne,
guys.
Ryan Kerrigan, like they're
Yep.
loaded up front, and I think the way that Bruce Arians' system is designed is meant to like get the ball down the field, read things instead of reading before the play. You read kind of during the play. If you get pressure on Brady, all that stuff is shot. I know they've adapted to a little more like New Englandish style offense in the last couple of weeks
Yeah.
and been better, but I don't know, man. I feel like you got to have time to get the ball deep, and it's not something that I think is going to happen this week. Again, very much like the Bears situation, I wouldn't take them straight up, but I would take the
Give me those
points.
points.
Yeah, give me those
Yeah.
points. 8.5 of them right now
I
too.
do.
I like it.
Yeah. And I
I've
think that's
already
gonna
bet it.
go up.
I've already bet it at eight
Have
and a
you?
half.
I'm
I'll
gonna
take
wait.
it. I'll take it some
I'll
more.
probably wait till Thursday or Friday to see where it's at. Uh, but yeah, that's the one that I would, if I'm taking the points. Like I said, I don't think they're going to upset. I'm not going to bet against Tom Brady on the money line to get beat. But I do think that there could be fourth quarter. It's a one score game, and maybe Tom's got to make a drive to win the game. I don't know. I think it's going
If
to be
we
a good game.
if we wake up Monday morning, like it wouldn't shock me if we're talking about the Saints losing and the Bucks losing. It wouldn't shock me. I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, I wouldn't
And
sit here and tell you it's going to happen, but I will
yeah,
tell you that I think both of those teams are in not so great matchups. Those are
yeah,
I just
I
think the
agree.
Bears and Washington can kind of slow the game down. And I'm an Alex Smith fan too. I just think that dude he's a fall to the abyss guy for me. That dude wins.
He can't throw it more than 10 yards, but he wins ball games.
He does, and that's all. I feel like they can be spread out. He can throw enough of a deep ball to make you respect it, as long as he's healthy. I don't know how healthy he is. He did not look like himself that last game, but
If I do you think he's going to come back after this year, or was it like a let me get back, prove I can come back,
I don't know.
play?
He's still good. Like
Man,
I
if
was
I was him
good.
after last week or 2 weeks when I got hurt, 2 weeks ago, if I got hurt like he did, the same leg, I'd be like, look, I'm done. I mean, I got kids to play with. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
I feel like every time he's out there, I don't even like watching it. Like Sunday night, every time he drops back to pass, I cringe a little bit because I don't want him. I mean, it's just God, the dude had 17 surgeries, like almost died. It's just, I feel bad for the guy, and I'm worried about him when he's back there. Honestly, I
yeah.
am.
He was a personal favorite of mine before all that. Uh, I mean, I think he's one of the. I would tell you at this point, I think he's a top five quarterback in Chiefs history, which probably says more about the Chiefs history than it does about him. But I do think he's one of those guys that kind of went into a not so great situation as a number one
Yeah.
overall pick. He has 4 or 5 different coordinators in his first 4 or 5 years. He finally clicks with Jim Harbaugh, and then you've got Kaepernick, who's going to fit that Greg Roman style offense a little better. And he goes to Kansas City and wins. Like that's all he does is win. It's just he wins no matter what the what it is. And I can't help but be impressed by that. He's a great dude off the field. Always has been. He really was really involved in that community in Kansas City. The schedules actually came out for next year, and Washington and Kansas City play each other. And I was really hoping that was going to be in Kansas City. I was going to try to I would try to be there for
Hey,
that.
DC trip. There you go.
Yeah, I bet that'd be pretty cool. Well, who knows what 2021 football looks like, but
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, what a crazy world we live in. I'm looking forward to. I'll have football on all weekend. I'm probably looking most forward to that Bills Colts game. I just
Yeah.
want to see what they can do against a good they've been putting up numbers against teams that aren't as good. I don't consider the Dolphins good, but they've been putting up points like crazy recently. Like they can't score anymore. Hey, let's keep going. These points are going away. Let's
Man,
get as many as we possibly can. They've been lighting it up
they're
and
they're really good, and Josh Allen is awesome. Like he's way better than I thought he was going to be when the
oh
Bills took
man,
him, and they could have took Mahomes. Uh, I don't know that he's not Mahomes. Like he's not anywhere close. That dude is he has a cannon for an arm,
it's a
and they
similar
kind of
feel.
yeah, and it's all. I don't think he's figured it out like upstairs yet. Like I don't think he's got the mental side of the game yet, where he's coming up to the line and calling out play. Like you watch Aaron Rodgers and he just dissects defenses. Like he's lost a
Surgery.
little bit of his arm. He's still got a great arm, but he's lost a little bit of it. But he comes up and just dissects the defense. And if Josh Allen can get to that point, same thing with Mahomes. Like Mahomes still hadn't completely figured that out yet,
You're right.
and they're still doing these crazy, putting up these crazy numbers and crazy stats. I hope the Bills make it because I want to watch them and the Chiefs in the AFC title game because that could be like a over under could be set at like 70 points for that game.
It really could.
So it'd be
It
like
really could.
a Big 12 or a Big 10, Big 12 college football game,
Yeah.
whichever
I
big number that is.
B1G. Yeah. Is at one point the Big
Big
12 had
12, Big 12 does
10
play
teams
defense.
and
Yeah,
Big
they play 7 on
10 had
7 up
12
there.
teams?
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty cool. Let's stick with this. Like Big 12 changed the number before. They had
That's
8.
so weird.
They were the Big 8 and they were the Big
Big
12.
8
And now they have 10 and they're still the Big 12. Big 10's take
playing
whatever.
7 on 7
Big
football.
10's got like 14. It's dumb. Whatever.
Yeah.
Um the next thing I want to talk about was the NBA. We watched the Grizzlies tonight. Last couple nights, Sunday and tonight, playing against the LA Lakers. No, you don't expect them to beat the Lakers, but they were really competitive tonight and competitive for a while on Sunday. Can the Grizz hold on without Ja?
So if you would have asked me last week, I would have said no. The way they were looking, I know they beat Charlotte, but I don't. Charlotte's gonna be one of those teams where if they're hitting outside shots with their guards, they're gonna play well. We just caught them on a night where they weren't great. We beat the Nets without Kyrie and Kevin Durant. So if you would have asked me last week, I'd have said no. But I think we can beat some team. We got Minnesota coming up. Our schedule isn't too difficult over the next couple weeks. We got some difficult games in there, but I don't think there's any NBA teams right now that I would be worried about, except maybe the Bucks and the Lakers that are just going to absolutely kill you. So maybe you can catch somebody. We get the Nets Friday and Durant's out again, so maybe
Yeah.
you can catch some of these teams like this. But they're hustling, man. They're playing so hard, and they're playing really good defense. It looked like we're watching the grit and grind era tonight. Like it
You
was
felt that
steals,
way.
deflections, get the ball to Jonas on the block. Let's punish them. It felt old school. I think our leading scorer had 13, but we had like 4 guys in double digits. So
Yeah, we actually had 3 guys with 13. Gorgie Jang, Dylan Brooks, Jonas Valanciunas all had 13. Brandon Clark had 12. Kyle Anderson had 10, and then Tyus and Xavier Tillman both had 8.
that's right.
It was like you had 7 dudes with between 8 and 13 points.
Yeah.
This did feel like a throwback game. It's kind of funny. Anna was talking. We're watching the game, and Anna said it feels like the Lakers just have another gear. Like you can play your good game, and your 100, but it takes your 100% effort to beat their 70% effort, and then they finally turn on the 100% effort for the last 6 minutes and bury you. Like that game shouldn't have been a 2-point game. Probably more like a 6-point game if the last 30 seconds got away from the Lakers. But even still, I was impressed. I was really impressed tonight. I mean they've fought hard the last few games. The second unit has looked so much better. Surprisingly, without John Conchar, my favorite.
Well, 2 things about the Lakers quick. We'll get back to the Grizzlies. LeBron is still awesome. He's still the king. He just came down 3 possessions in a row. Was like, I'm ending this game. Dylan Brooks is too small. He gave him the jaw, too tiny, too little baby boy guarding me. But then the second thing, Kyle Kuzma, and maybe it's just because every time I watch him, he doesn't look that good. But is he the most overrated player in the NBA?
I think he's really good. I just think his role on this team is just a role player, and he's a really good like he's a good role player. But I feel like he's talked about like he's the level beneath level beneath a star. I think he's an important piece on their team. Like I don't think they'd be as good without him. But people talk like he's their third best player after LeBron and Davis. I don't see that. He's important though.
No,
I think he's
Harrell and Schroeder are still better than him. But 3 years ago, when they were, still had Ingram, they still had Ball, and they were trying to trade for Davis, the one person they said they weren't going to trade was Kuzma. And I'm like, you had Ingram on that team, and I know he probably clashes with how Anthony Davis and LeBron James play, but my God, that's the guy you kept who, like, he doesn't play defense. Not good anyways. from what I've seen. Like I don't watch them all the time, but like every time I watch him, he doesn't hit shots. He just looks lost. I don't know. I don't see what everybody else sees, I guess.
It may be that he's just a good dude, and you know how LeBron's got the banana boat thing where maybe he wants him on the banana boat.
I
He,
think
he's
he dated Kendall Jenner for a little bit and got famous, and
it's like, hey, I can envision this guy on my
he's good
banana
at
boat.
basketball. Yeah, maybe that's it. I think you're onto it.
Banana boat. It's like
But
what?
no, the Grizzlies, I think we can hold on for a little bit as long as it's close to the 3 week time period for John, not the 5 week time period for John.
Yeah, I think Wes Matthews is maybe another banana boat kind of guy because he's not very good anymore either. He's like good dude.
He still he still has like the best 3 point celebration though ever
Oh
with
yeah,
shooting the bow. So
I think that.
great.
What would the banana boat celebration look like? Like I don't know. Never mind.
I mean, if you
I've
did that right now, it'd look a little provocative. So
going off the rails here. It's too
let's say
late at
Watch the
night.
Throne is provocative.
Yeah. Get the people going.
People it gets the people going.
Oh man, don't get me
Watch.
started on
Oh,
that.
well, speaking of a Watch the Throne reference, or so Kanye West, Kim Kardashian getting divorced. I know we're getting off the rails here. Big news. I know you're a Kanye guy. I'm not the biggest Kanye guy. I like Watch the Throne, but sad day in Westland.
If it leads, I never want anybody's marriage to end, but it could lead to some angry Kanye rap, which I'm okay with.
I, I joke
That
about
could,
it. I feel bad for that guy. I hope he gets
I
some
do too.
help because he
I do
really does
too.
need it, and maybe it does lead to some good rap music.
Maybe so. I feel really
Sorry,
bad for him though. I never want to see a marriage, even a famous a celebrity one. I don't know. Just,
it
I was,
sucks.
yeah. I
Everybody will get
believe in
their
true
jokes off. I got
love.
my jokes off, but
There you go. Wake up,
but
Mr. West, Mr. West. It's okay. Um, you said that Desmond Bain needs to be starting. What's your reasoning behind that?
uh, so we moved Brandon Clark into the starting lineup, moved Kyle Anderson to the three. I mean, you've talked about this before. I think Kyle Anderson works best at that. He's not a position player. They talk about positionless basketball. He's like the true positionless basketball guy. But I think when you have him out there with Brandon Clark and Jonas, the defense suffers. And even though Kyle Anderson's a better shooter this year, you still can't stretch the floor.
Yeah,
I think no matter what, if Bane's on the floor, you have to account for him.
exactly.
He's shown that he can play good defense. He's serviceable on that end, but he just makes plays. Like he kind of fits the DeAnthony Melton, John Conchar, uh, you know, mold where he's just around the ball. He's smart. He doesn't try to force anything. And I think when you get job back, you need that guy that you can rely on to go to shoot. And if that means when Ja comes back and you get Justice back and Jaron back, there, you start to fall out of rotation there. Maybe that's the time when Dylan goes to the bench and you can see if that works out. I think you
Yeah,
got to get Bain in the starting lineup because he's going to be. You got to find out if he can be that guy with Jaron and Ja.
yeah. It almost feels like you're playing your second unit as your starting lineup right now. I agree with you on
Yeah,
the shooting thing. I feel more comfortable with Kyle being the four and Brandon coming off the bench. But if it were, I think if it were my decision right now, I would have obviously Tyus being out there along with Dylan, and then Bain, and then Anderson and Jonas. And I would probably pull Anderson out first, put Clark in, and kind of have Anderson function as that backup point guard. Maybe
yep,
have him and Melton out there together with the second unit. But, you know, he kind of functions as a starting four, but also the backup point guard, and then can play in the
yeah,
the first five. They're really, truthfully, their lineups get so. Jenkins is really good about mixing a lot of lineups, maybe to a fault about mixing so many different guys. I mean, I remember last year I was shocked there was lineups of like four guys that hadn't played more than like 7 minutes together all season, and they've been on the team the whole year and had played 7, 8, 9 minutes together as a combination of four. It's just that kind of stuff. He's very he does a lot of shifts. I mean, where
yeah,
it's 4, 5, maybe 7 minute stretches, but I mean you're getting a breather. Coming off, coming back in. It's a lot of
yeah.
he subs a lot.
I do wonder when we get our guys back, Gorgie, even though he's played really good, I think he's gonna be traded, by the trade deadline. And I assume Tyus and Brandon Clark, who've been better uh, the past few games, I assume they're gonna go back to their bench role when you get Ja and Dylan Brooks. I'm assuming he's gonna stay at the two guard, Justice at the three, and then Jaron for Jonas five. But there's a whole lot of logjam. Tillman's looked good, and I think you got to see what he can offer you. You can't just let him sit on the bench. I know he's a rookie, but you got to see what you traded up to get him, I believe, and you got to see what he's got.
Yep.
Uh, there's just so much logjam, and I know you were a Grayson guy in the bubble, but I think he's got to be the odd man
No,
out.
you're.
Uh,
I'm totally on board with that. He's been the worst player we've played aside from like Sean McDermott, but
yeah,
he's not been good. I mean, we know he has it in him after we saw it in the bubble, but he's almost looked like a little timid. He's still made. I think one thing I'm always impressed with him on the offensive end, he takes the right shots. I never look at him and think, man, that was a dumb shot. He takes threes, he takes layups. I like that. That's what I want
yeah,
my
but
two guard.
sometimes, yeah, I've watched him a couple times. He got in the lane where he could have shot a little floater, and it's like it's in his head. It's like somebody told him you can only shoot layups and threes,
Yeah,
and it's like it's in his head. And he gets in the lane and he can shoot that little floater, but he kicks it out or makes a pass backwards. And I'm like, hey, you had a little 6 foot floater. Let
take
it
it.
go. I mean, it's better than the shot we're gonna get with 5 seconds left on the shot clock when you kicked it back out. I
Yeah,
think
I
he's in
agree.
his own head, which he did look good in the bubble, but there's just a lot of logjam for minutes, especially right now with people hurt, people getting. We're enjoying watching some of these guys play. Who's the odd man out, or who's the odd couple guys out that are going to ride the bench for the rest of the year?
If it came down to is Conchar playing or is Allen playing, it's definitely a Conchar move for me. I've
Yeah,
been I I hope that he stays in the lineup. I mean, or not I know he's not going to be a starter, but I hope he stays in the rotation, getting some love there. You hit on Clark and Tyus being better. I agree with you completely there. Um, they've both been really like I wouldn't say really good. Tyus' first game as a starter was not good. He's been really good since then.
I think he
Um,
tried to
and,
do too much that first game as a starter
yep, he's done well
instead
though.
of just playing his game.
I think if he could transition this role with, I mean, like I said, this is kind of the second unit plus Dylan and Jonas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are probably the three best guys in our second unit that are now in our starting lineup. I've been happy to see him turn the corner. He started slow last year too, so he's turning the corner a lot quicker this
Yeah,
year. I wanted to say
his
this because
shot looks better this year too.
oh man, him getting a 3-point shot would be a chef's kiss. I would love it.
Oh god,
If
if
he just
he's not going to be Fred Van Vliet, but I use it because they kind of have a similar game. If he could
and they look
develop,
alike.
yeah, they do look alike. But if he could develop just a little bit of a shot where you could play him off the ball with Ja and play them together, God, that'd be the dream.
I want Jaron and Justice back. That's 100%. But I want to make a point about Dylan Brooks. You know that I am not the biggest Dylan Brooks fan. I'm probably quite the opposite. But I got to give dude some credit. He he's been pretty good. I mean, like I feel
Yeah,
like he's not trying to do too much in a time where I expected him to try to do everything.
yeah.
He's still not shooting the ball super efficiently, but he's being asked to take a lot more, like he's being asked to take tougher shots than he was before. The problem before was he was taking tough shots when it wasn't necessary.
Yep.
Now he's being asked to take the tougher shots, and he's making some of them. He's passing up on some that he could let go. You know, I've seen his decision making improve. I've been impressed. He made a couple really good passes tonight. A couple that led to buckets and a couple that didn't. I've said this
Hmm.
for a while. I think Dylan has another level to unlock as a basketball player, and that's as a creator. I think he
Yep.
could be a leader of a bench unit, like, or even a contributor to on the starting unit, more than just being a scorer and a decent defender. He can be a creator. He's very good at getting in open space, but sometimes he gets the defense to collapse on him. He can kick it out to shooters or cutters. He has got another gear that I think we might see him unlock at some point. He's kind of starting to. I've just seen flashes of something I haven't seen before out of him. He still almost had his Dylan line tonight, where that's the one where I say you have more
He
shots
was
than
even.
points. It was
He was
even.
even.
So it's not a Dylan. It's not a Dylan. It's okay. We had a lot of guys do that. We actually had Anderson, Valanciunas, Brooks, and Jones all in the starting lineup have a even game with shots and points. Uh, Tillman on the bench did it too, which is kind of funny. But I've seen more out of Brooks than in this time without Ja. I hope that continues. I hope that he continues to be a good decision maker as the season progresses. And because his contract when he signed it last year looked like a steal, and then by the time the bubble was over, it was like we don't
Yeah.
really want this anymore. And now,
Yeah.
I mean, it could go either way. I hope it's a steal. I,
I do
I
too.
want to see
I do
him
too.
turn that corner with us because man, I think he's got something else. He's got another gear to unlock. I want to see it happen.
So real quick, just to add, while I was watching the game, I was just kind of looking up. I was on Basketball Reference, just kind of looking at stats and whatnot for the Grizzlies. But uh, I found this interesting because I knew our scoring was down. Obviously, with Ja out, we're not scoring as much, kind of relying on the defensive side. But I found this really interesting, and it kind of goes to we always think we kind of get screwed by the refs, and what we see is kind of what we knows happening. We don't shoot as many free throws as everybody else. But so this year, so far, we haven't played many games, but we're leading the NBA in field goal attempts. We're eighth in field goals made. 3-pointers, we're still terrible. Like we still shoot worse than we did in the grit and grind area. We take more. Uh, but you would think being number one in field goal attempts, which was surprising to me, that I think that shows your defense is really well or playing really well. Uh, our points, the amount of points we score a game is 20th in the league. And then you go to your free throws attempted, we're 27th in the league.
That's
So
the
on
gap
one
right
side,
there.
you're taking the most shots out of anybody. You're making the eighth most, but we don't get to the free throw line. And I know we think we get screwed a lot, and I do think Ja doesn't get the benefit of the whistle, but I don't know if it's just we don't try to make those fouls happen. If Jonas is too big and plays too old school, where he's not going to get those calls. I don't know what it is, but we have got to get to the free throw line more. It was
Yeah.
just really eye opening when I looked at it. You know, we're 27th in attempted and we're 24th in made free throws. Uh, I found that kind of interesting that with us taking the most
Yeah.
shots in the league, that we're not scoring more than the 20th best team in the league.
We're way up there in pace as well. Like I know I took the over in the Charlotte game because they were both really high in pace. I didn't account for the fact that neither team could shoot the ball at all. Uh, but I noticed at that point, at the time of the Charlotte game, we were third in the NBA in pace, and a lot of that has to do with the way Ja plays. It kind of
Oh yeah,
let's get up and go. We don't play that as much with Tyus leading the way, but even still, the pace is still we're still taking a lot of shots, and you're onto something there. There was a moment in the game tonight. It was DeAnthony Melton got an offensive foul called on him, and this I wanted to go back to one of the things we talked about last week with Trae Young. Melton drives into the lane, and Montrezl Harrell kind of gets underneath him as he's coming down for a floater. Well, Melton's chest grazes Harrell's chest. Harrell falls back. Offensive foul. Yeah, throws your arms back. Offensive foul. So one thing I was thinking about, you were talking about Trae Young last week. I was like, if this is an offensive foul, if him taking that floater, running into Montrezl Harrell, if that's an offensive foul, why isn't the move where you pump fake, get the dude in the air, and then throw your shoulder into him and put the shot up? Why isn't that
you're
an
creating the
offensive foul?
contact. It
You
should
can,
be.
I feel like if and I think the same thing with the Trae Young move where stick your booty out and then shoot and get the foul. Like to me, that's an offensive foul. I think the
Yeah,
NBA's got some. There's at least 4 or 5 instances in every game almost. Bare minimum of one, but in a lot of games 4 or 5, depending on who's playing. Stars do it more often than others, just to try to draw that contact. I do respect that LeBron doesn't seem to do that as much. I don't feel he gets enough calls. As crazy as
he
it sounds,
flails a lot, but he doesn't get
he
enough
does.
calls.
Gosh, he's so
He gets
big.
beat up.
He gets the
Yeah,
shackles. Back to
yeah.
him for a minute. If he doesn't win MVP, he should win it. Like I said, he should win it every year.
It
I
should
would
be
be
named
fine.
after him.
Like I said, it should be called the LeBron James Most Valuable Player Trophy.
And it should be a crown that they put on people's head.
Exactly. Like Giannis did that last year. I want the crown. Give me the crown.
Crown me,
Yeah.
crown me.
I'm the second best player in the league.
By his
Can't be
own
first,
admittance.
right? It's true. Uh, One other thing you wanted to say about the NBA was, do we finally have some parity? I think you hit on this a little bit earlier, talking about there's your upper echelon. It's the Bucks, it's the Lakers, it's probably the
Clippers, I guess you
Clippers.
throw in there.
Yeah, I mean maybe you could make a case for the Nets, a fully healthy Nets, maybe. But
But
then
when was the
after
last time
that,
you had four? When was the
I
last time
don't
you had
know.
four that could win a title?
It's been a while.
And now with I was looking at the West earlier. I mean, we're one win away from being in like the 10th seed. I know we're still really early, but I think you on the West you got one through once you get past the Lakers Clippers, you got two through eight or nine that could beat each other on any given night, and you get one of those teams on hot playing well, they could beat the Lakers or Clippers. They're not unbeatable. And on the East, I do think or not the Celtics, the Bucks will probably make it to the finals, but when the Warriors dynasty was going on, and I'll say the LeBron dynasty because it went from Miami to Cleveland to the Lakers, or Cleveland first and then Miami. He is his own dynasty. But since like the Warriors, this is the first time that the NBA's had a lot of parity since maybe when the Spurs were making their runs, because you had a few teams in there those years that they could compete. But this is the first time that I couldn't tell you who's going to win the NBA title. I couldn't even tell you who's going to be in the NBA Finals this year. I could
Yeah,
have a pretty educated guess, but there's no guarantee where you could have before the season started the past few years picked who's going to be in the finals.
I've really enjoyed that. I've seen, you have a few really bad teams too, like four,
Yeah,
3 or 4 maybe, and but then you have if you have 4 really good teams, 4 really bad teams, that means you have 22 teams who are not the same, but
no, but
within a few, it's gonna be a competitive game. You can't say that team's gonna win, and be 100% certain about it before the game starts. I feel like it's led to some really competitive basketball and some interesting upsets early on in the season too. I've really enjoyed. I did get League Pass this year. I've been watching quite a few games that I didn't think I'd be
I have
watching.
to.
Um, a few teams that have given me a positive impression so far. One, the Phoenix Suns. I feel like I called that one, so I need my props on that one. Uh, and the other one's the
I'll
Indiana
give you your
Pacers.
flowers in a few months.
It's okay. They're not going to be. I don't think they're going to win the West or anything like that. But I could make a case for them as the third best team in the West, and
They
I
could
could
beat
make
the
a case.
Clippers,
I really believe they could beat the
which
Clippers.
would be awesome in a series. Chris Paul versus the Clippers.
I think they would. I think they could really tick off the Lakers for a while too. I
Yeah.
just think their bench is good. Chris Paul, he kind of got that. I was gonna call him Alex Smith, but that would be the same. Wherever he goes, they win. That part.
That'd be an insult to Alex Smith. Is that what you said?
I wasn't gonna say that, but I'm gonna say that at all.
That's a
But
joke. That's a joke.
Chris Paul, man, I just think wherever he goes, he wins. They're talented, and they're winning without Devin Booker going off. That's gonna happen at some point.
He's going to figure out how to play with Chris Paul because I think that is a thing. Like you have to figure out how to play. He's used to having the ball in his hands a lot and scoring and being the go-to guy. When he figures out how to play off of Chris Paul, that team's going to be really good.
I think they have a chance
They're
to,
dogs.
yeah, in like just kind of like in the aggregate, be better than it. Like they could upset somebody, and like if you told me Phoenix made the finals, like it wouldn't blow my mind. Like they're the team after they're probably the one team after the Lakers and Clippers that they've made the finals. I wouldn't be like, that's ridiculous. But like, I obviously wouldn't like bet on it or anything. But I think it's I mean, it's possible. I feel like they're a real contender. And in the East, I really think the Pacers have something good. If they can get T.J. Warren back healthy, later, he's out a while, but that team is
Sabonis is that
good.
dude.
Sabonis is
Yeah.
awesome. He's like Jokic. I mean, he's
And
and
Oladipo's not fully back yet either.
Brogdon's been really good. Miles Turner has turned into an elite defender. Like he's
Hmm.
going to get some defensive player of the year votes when that was considered to be a bit of a weakness early on in his career. I've been really impressed with them. Their bench is good enough with the Holiday brothers coming off. Um, I'm
That team is what we wanted the Grizzlies to be during the grit and grind era.
Yeah, you're absolutely
It's
right.
built kind of the same, but they actually have some shooters around them and can get them down the floor a little bit.
I've been impressed with what I've seen from them. Um, I just think they've got more that they can do, another gear to hit. Sabonis is like near triple double status every single night. I think they've got. I think they can make a case for the second or third best team in the West. The other guy they play, Aaron Holiday's moved into the starting lineup now with Warren out, but still they're bringing McConnell off the bench, Jakar Sampson, Doug McDermott, and Justin Holiday. Like that's a
They're
good
good.
bench. That's a good
Yeah,
bench. And I think they
yeah,
could probably use one more guy, but I think they're good. Like that team, if you told me they beat the Bucks, it wouldn't shock me. No, I'm not
yeah.
predicting a Pacers Suns finals. I'm not crazy, but I'm saying I
Hey,
think
that'd
that
be the NBA would hate that. They would hit the Buffalo Wild Wings button and change the outcome and
rewind.
be like, nope, we're getting Lakers Nets.
Lakers Bucks.
Scratch
Come on,
that.
come on. Yeah, I need LeBron Durant Volume 17. Come on,
Yeah,
let's go. Everybody wants to see that again. Um, we don't have much left, but the last thing we tried to record an episode last week. You had an idea of doing the 2020 review. We'll just do a quick little segment of that. We had a
yeah,
pretty
way
good laugh
faster.
about this. Uh, we wanted to share our favorite albums, the favorite movie we watched for the first time in 2020, and the TV shows that help get us through a weird year. Why don't you start by sharing your favorite albums of 2020?
Favorite albums. Number one, country artist Hardy. Probably not a lot of people have heard of him, but his album's called A Rock. It's really, really good. Number two, Sam Hunt, Southside. This has been uh, a recent um listen for me. I listened to a couple tracks on it when it first came out, but really dove into it in the past 2 or 3 weeks. And then the last one that you love is Taylor Swift, Folklore. Is great. The best
It really
album of
is
the
great.
year. It's not even close.
I love that album, and I was gonna give two picks for favorite album of the year. One of them is Taylor Swift's Folklore, which is kind of crazy. You get onto a sports show and it's two brothers who are Swift fans.
Swifties.
Swift Nation, Swift Nation, stand up.
Come like a Swift Nation.
Yeah, come on. I love that album. I thought it really showed a deeper side to Taylor Swift. She's always been a really good songwriter, even with her pop stuff. You know, pop is not really my genre of music. I do enjoy a song here and there, but this album, like start to finish, was just it was just cool. I haven't had a
Yeah.
chance to listen to Evermore as much as I listen to Folklore, but that's because I'm still listening to Folklore. It's been a really really, I mean, almost a year long listen. I mean, I've been listening to it since it came out, and
I
Anna
have to.
has too. It's been on repeat. Uh, it's a great album. The other one for me, probably no surprise, is Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit reunions. That album came out, I believe, first half of the year. I think it was in either April, May. I don't know, but the he played the song called "Overseas" at Innings Fest in March out in Arizona when they were doing spring training for baseball before the
Hmm.
pandemic was fully raging, and a video came up online, and I started listening to it. I can't tell you how many times I listened to that song before it actually came out and hit Spotify, and I don't know. It was it's not as that song Overseas is one of his better songs he's made, along with another one called Only Children. I love those. There's another song on there called Letting You Go about being a girl dad, which hits me right in the heart.
Yeah.
As a whole, the album is not as good as his previous stuff, but it's so good. Like his stuff, he's the common thread between Taylor Swift and Jason Isbell for me. Although they're very very different artists from very very different genres, is thoughtful songwriting that hits you right in the heart. They write from the heart, and you feel that when you listen to it. So I appreciate
You're
that from both of them.
he's your it's like Eric Church for me. I mean, his last few albums haven't been my favorite, but I still love him because I think he's a really good artist and he's my favorite. So he could put out anything and it's going to be awesome in my eyes, at least.
Yeah, it's like if you take your favorite artist's worst stuff and put it with somebody else, would you say it's good? Yeah, probably. It may not be
Yeah,
as good as your
absolutely.
favorite artist's best stuff, but it's still really good.
Yeah.
Um, all right, favorite movie you watched for the first time. We say watch for the first time because a lot of stuff didn't come out in 2020. So favorite movie from any year that you watched for the first time in 2020.
So, not big movie watchers in this household, partly because we don't have much time to do it, even though that's crazy to say during the quarantine. But we're just not big movie watchers. I don't know if it's ADD or what, but Star Wars Rise of Skywalker came out in December of last year or 2019. We watched it in 2020, so it does count for watching in 2020. Uh, it was a really good movie. I'm a big fan of the Star Wars, all the trilogies. I know a lot of people weren't. This wasn't their favorite, but I thought it had a lot of nostalgia. Uh, I don't know. It kept me entertained, and that's what I'm looking for in a movie for 2.5 hours or whatever it is. I was thoroughly entertained by it, and so that was the one movie that I enjoyed.
I liked it too. I understood the complaints about it, but I didn't understand the full backlash. Like if you make me give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, it's an obvious thumbs up. I do understand the complaints, but it was still a great movie. Like I thought it was really cool. I feel like it was one of those things, kind of like Game of Thrones season 8, where everybody's so we're so intense, such intense fans. We've all dubbed up our own theories about what we think, how we think this should end, and if it doesn't match that, or even if it
You're
does, if it doesn't
disappointed.
play out exactly the way you wanted it to, even if it does, maybe you're disappointed. Bottom line, you didn't want it to end. I think no matter how it ended, it was the end, and
Yeah.
everybody's a little unhappy with that. Still, I really enjoyed it. My favorite was Ford versus Ferrari. I know that came out in 2019, but we watched it for the first time in 2020. Anna and I every year like to watch all the Best Picture nominees to kind of get our own idea of what we think should win. And I think Parasite won this year, but I thought I didn't. That's the only one we didn't see. I really
Hmm.
loved. I would have picked Ford versus Ferrari as mine. I think it was really good. If you haven't watched that one, the performances delivered by Christian Bale and Matt Damon in that movie are just phenomenal. It's
That's on the list for us.
even if you don't like racing, which I know you do.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like racing, Anna's not a racing fan. I'm really not a racing fan. The movie is great, especially when you consider, like, I think about all the different roles Christian Bale has played. He's been, you know,
He's so good.
he's been in The Fighter. He's been in The Prestige. He's been freaking Batman. He just got a role to play a
The
villain
best
in the Thor
Batman.
movie. He's definitely the best Batman. I mean, Matt Damon has played so many different things. I was really blown away by this movie. It's my favorite movie of the year. It's probably a top 5, maybe top 10 movie for me all time. That for the one for me. I know it's not going to be that way. Movie critics would shoot me in the head for saying that, but I loved it. I thought it was awesome. Really enjoyed that movie. Last thing was TV shows that got you through the year. What were yours?
I'll go. I'll go through this one real quick. Season 3 of Yellowstone came out in June. I didn't get a chance to watch it till about August, but then I got to watch all of them in a row really quick. I think we knocked it out in 3 nights.
That's cool.
It's the best show on TV right now, and for everybody, I'm the person that likes watching Netflix and just knocking out a series. But it's kind of fun to watch it week to week when it comes out. It's the best show. Kevin Costner is unbelievable. It's my favorite TV show out right now. Maybe my favorite TV show of all time. Currently watching The Crown. Started watching it in 2020. Highly recommend. We're still on season 1, about to finish it up. And then you'll laugh at this one. AEW Dynamite every Wednesday night. Watch it every week. I'm a wrestling geek still. Uh, it got me back into wrestling. So that's my escape for 2 hours a week and watch something that I enjoyed as a little kid.
I feel like you're not the only one to say that about AEW Dynamite. That it got you back into wrestling, rekindling those old WCW Nitro Monday Night Wars years.
It's Sting.
He's really there too. Um, it's so cool seeing that. I thought they did a really touching tribute for Luke Harper, or
It was
Brody Lee
amazing.
last week. That was sweet. That was just a really cool tribute for him.
And his
My
son having the -1 nickname,
oh
negative
man,
one, is so cool. Like that is the coolest nickname.
it's so great. I hope he like becomes a wrestler and
I think he's
takes on
on.
that
I think
name.
he was on Dark tonight, AEW Dark, which is their YouTube show that they do
Uh
matches
huh.
for like undercard. He was actually on there like cutting promos on Marco Stunt, who's a South Haven guy. He's from the Memphis area, but so they're actually using him in the Dark Order. It's kind of cool.
That's pretty cool. Mine most recent was The Mandalorian. That's probably my TV show that got me through the year. The excitement I get watching that show is kind of like the excitement I got watching Game of Thrones. The hype that I feel around it. I feel like it's a genuinely like communal event where like everybody knows about it except for you. Um, it's it's
That's on the list
it's
to watch after the Crown.
you gotta watch it, man, because I feel like
We're
if you
gonna watch it
don't,
with the boys. They want to watch it.
it's good. And I will say it appeals to all ages. Avery is just turned 5 and she loves it. She also really really I mean just has bought all the way into it. She's Baby Yoda everything, Mandalorian everything. It's all in on Star Wars. A lot of it is because of that. I think it's rekindled Star Wars love for a lot of people. Um, Other ones that we've watched, we just finished The Queen's Gambit. I loved that. The thing that probably, if you say got us through the year, it's probably The Office. Um, I think we've rewatched that twice. We're finishing up our second or third rewatch this year. Just went to Peacock. But I mean, I love that show. I can't tell you how many times.
I
You
think
know
they
how
said you
often
can
I
buy it
say,
for like $30 all the seasons right now on Peacock. Does
yeah.
that sound right?
Maybe it's a different channel. I think a different streaming service like Vudu. Maybe you can do it, but you have to buy it all at once. But I think on Peacock you can. It's like $9.99 to do. You can watch certain episodes of it for free, but you have to
I
do
got
like premium to watch all of it. So we got the premium to watch all of it because we watch all of it all the time. Uh,
you.
and hearing you forget all the different ways that he uses "that's what she said" in there. It's so great.
Your
It
favorite
really
quote of all time?
it is I was saying it before I watched the show too, which is kind of funny to know that
We
its
may have
origin
to
was from the
steal
show.
something that Gary Parrish and them used to do on his show and get a drop button for "That's What She Said" on
Yeah, we
for
need
this
that
show.
100%. Um, so that's all we've got for today. Anything else you wanted to throw out there?
Yeah, so just a quick story. So my favorite artist going right now, besides Eric Church, is this guy Morgan Wallen. Yeah, he put out an album a couple years ago, and I really got into it. I actually got a signed vinyl that I ordered earlier this year. But so he's putting out an album this Friday. It's called Dangerous. Well, Walmart, I guess, in like 10 stores last week, actually released it last Friday. So he got on Instagram and basically he put his location as Target and put that like he's exclusive to Target now. It'll come out this Friday. If anybody's going to release his music, it's going to be him. Do it at Target. They're getting a special LP. It'll have 2 extra songs on it or whatever. But it was just a hilarious. Like he put Walmart on blast for just messing up. Like 10 stores put it out, but people were
Man,
actually bought it. Were like going, "Hey man, this album's really awesome." He's like, "Oh, hold on, I ain't put this thing out yet."
it ain't out
It's
yet.
it was pretty funny. I saw the story this morning when I woke up. I was like, all right, it was just funny how he did Instagram. He's pretty good at it. I mean, doing the Target thing was so funny.
That's pretty good.
I don't know. I just wanted to share that one. His album comes out Friday. If you hadn't listened to Morgan Wallen, he's really good. He did a cover of Jason Isbell, "Cover Me Up."
You know, I love the song so much that I didn't like the cover, but I've heard you play some of his songs and I've enjoyed some of it. I didn't like the cover, but I'm spoiled by the original version on that one.
You
I
know
feel,
he's got to be pretty good if Isbell give him a song.
yeah, I think the only other guy he gave that to was Stapleton, but I feel like such an old man saying I like the original version better. I remember telling I remember telling our mom that the Limp Bizkit version of Behind Blue Eyes was better than the Who,
It is.
and no, it's not. What is wrong with you? Keep him.
I honestly think I've heard the Who version one like 4 times. But
What is wrong with you?
I used to turn that Limp Bizkit version up when I was in
No
middle school.
one knows what it's
Oh.
like. No,
I
sorry.
used to be rolling to that.
Oh my gosh. I got in trouble one time for playing hot
Um,
dog in the car. I remember that. It said
yeah, that's
the F word
probably
like
probably fair. I
seven
think he
times.
says the F bomb 43
Yeah, I
times
should
in
have been.
this
I should have been
effing
listening to that
rhyme.
in sixth grade. That was not a. Come on, guys. Come on.
I
Uh,
listened to "Live Free or Die." What's the 50 Cent album? His first one that came
Get
out.
rich or die
I burned
trying.
that one. "Get Rich or Die Trying." I burned that one in 6th grade.
God,
I
man.
was the popular guy on the bus because all my buddies, Kevin Miller, they all would try to steal my Walkman and listen to
I get it. I get it. It's
it.
crazy, man. I feel like such
Oh
an old
man.
man saying no, the original's better, but it's okay. I'm cool with it.
Hey,
Old
I'll give you another one. The Shinedown Simple Man version is better than Leonard Skinner, and I'm a Skinner guy, but the Shinedown version's better. Come at me.
old man right here. Skinnerd. Play some Freebird.
Hey, Freebird.
Play Freebird.
I
Yeah.
live in Freeburg. Listen to Freebird.
That's true. Well, guys, we appreciate y'all watching and listening. I think that's all we got. Any closing words? Hump.
Nope. Thank you. And hopefully we're going to try to get to Memphis in the next, I don't know, month or so. We can do a Q and Avery as like a 3-man group.
That'd be fantastic.
So
that'd be cool.
But that's it. Thanks.
Appreciate you guys watching.
I'll do the like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff.
Like, subscribe, comment, please. Thank you. Appreciate y'all listening.
Tell your friends.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a good evening, guys. Bye-bye.